Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Myka and Steve.
Hello, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Live, Let, Thrive, episode 328. Coming at y'all. It's going to be Myka just with a solo ep, man. Been going through a lot, doing a lot, got a stuff to catch y'all up on. Got some exciting news, some cool stuff that I ran into. You know, I'm talking about a little bit about mindset, a little bit about luck. Y'all know my definition of luck, when preparation meets opportunity. So a little bit of both of that today. So one thing, speaking of the luck part, so you guys know that the bonus depreciation is back. The whole big beautiful bill came, so the 100% bonus depreciation is back. I think I told you guys in the last couple episodes of me and Steve, I said I wasn't doing it, but a interesting opportunity came knocking it. It all came full circle, right? So what happened was, so I did the 1031, got the duplex. After I get the duplex, right, we've been holding it a couple weeks, about a month or so now. We're probably holding it a month, but it's been really slow. I mean, we all know August is always slow, especially in the South. If you're down here, August is always slow. And the reason why August is slow is because it's back to school season. Ain't nobody traveling. And we had, I think, 2 midterm rental contracts that fell through. One was for $5,000 a month, and this just for one side, and the other one was for $7,000. And they both end up falling through. I think we've made in total probably about $2,000 so far off of it. Not bad, but I'm not really tripping to it because I know it's like the slow season. And by the way, you don't ever want to start a short-term rental in the middle of going back to school season, the worst time to start it. My 1031 company reached out and they're like, hey, we partnered with this company, and what we're doing is we're allowing y'all to do free cost seg studies, right? We'll give you not free cost seg studies, we'll give you a free cost segregation benefit analysis, meaning we'll let you know what's the benefit of you doing a cost seg study for free. We'll just give you the benefit of it, let you know how much you can save. So of course, I'm like, it's free, let's sign up. So I signed up for it, and I didn't get the results back for like, I think it took me like a day or two. It might have already been there, but I didn't check my email. So, and I was like, it wasn't even on top of my mind, like, hey, I'm going to do this or whatever. So like a few months back, I had requested a raise at work, and I wasn't thinking twice about it. I just requested a raise, and, I have this one-on-one with my manager every month, and he just kept giving me, let me update. He's like, hey, by the way, they're working on it, whatever. And I just wasn't thinking about it. I was like, okay, cool. Thank you for letting me know. Just whenever it can happen, it can happen. All this stuff comes crashing down at once. So cost seg benefit analysis comes. And then I think it was a Monday, I got called into let's just rewind. My wife ended up getting a raise at her job too, right? So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So she got a raise. And then this past Monday, my supervisor called me in and he's like, hey man, we got your raise approved. So I ended up getting a raise. So this time I'm like, oh damn, like shit, we just got these 2 raises, and the business has been doing really well this year. We made like 50K over what we were projecting, and it's like a really big profit. So I'm like, oh dang, we just got these raises. I'm like, okay, we probably gonna need these write-offs. So I just happened to click through my email and they sent me the cost seg benefit analysis, and I'm like, dang. And they showed me, like, they broke it down how much I could save. They're like, hey, if you do it, we can go ahead and get write-off, like, it's just estimates starting off. We can write off 95,000 off top. I'm like, dang, so I call Mahogany. I'm like, hey, we need to probably look at this cost seg thing. Look at what it can do for us. So we were like, okay. We called the guy back. We sat there on the phone with him for 30 minutes, asked all our questions, went over everything that we're going through with our business, with the raises. And he was just like, oh yeah, you can take this property. And then, he goes, if it's already a short-term rental, you can go ahead and write it off. And I'm like, okay. Because I let him know how I run my business. We always lease the property to the LLC. The LLC runs the short-term rental. He goes, yeah, it would still count as long as, it's not another third-party property management company that you're hiring. He goes, yeah, it would still count. You could still write it off. And I was like, oh, okay, because I do all my properties like that. And he goes, hey, hold on. You have other properties? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, are they all short-term rentals? I was like, well, 2 more of them are. I'm like, the 2 other houses I have, I have 2 other houses, and I have a Section 8 one, but the other 2, they're short-term. He goes, well, if you want, I can go ahead and throw a discount at you. I'll do a cost seg on all of them. He goes, I'll reduce the fee on the other 2 because, if you already have them and they've been up, and he goes, we can go back up to, I think he said up to 10 years and do a cost seg on it. I'm like, So I'm like, can I take all that in 1 year, or would it be better to kind of split them up? And he goes, well, you could just take it all in 1 year. He was like, well, what you could do is just like split them up per year. Like if you just bought the duplex, do one this year, do another one next year and the year after. And I'm like, and us getting these raises, we might need it. So we ended up deciding to go through with the cost seg benefit analysis, right? And this is where the mindset part comes in. So we were good on the cost seg benefit analysis. We're like, okay, we're gonna push through with that. We got our raises. Now we'll be able to write all this off. Hopefully get a nice little chunk of change back from the government. So this past week at work, right? They call everyone in for this meeting. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Big meeting. Usually some changes going on. Like nothing that would affect us or anything, right? Of course it is. So they called us in. Everyone, I work remote, so they had like everyone turn their cameras on. So everyone's got their cameras on, and they're just like, by the way, starting in October, we're gonna have everyone start coming back into the office 5 days, 4 days a week. And I'm like, dang. So I'm like, oh crap. So I'm like, So I was thought about it for a second. I'm like, man. So like, you just like the funny thing was, you could see everyone's like the screen of all these people. You see everyone's face just like drop, right? Like, cause we've been remote since COVID, like 5 straight years. Well, not really remote. We go in 2 days a week, right? So 2 days in, 3 days out. And so I'm like, dang, man, I'm thinking to myself, and I'm gonna have to change up my whole schedule, change up everything. Cause my son, he just got accepted into this GT school. So his school is no longer like right around the corner. Like we could just walk him to school, take him to school, drop him off, come back home. If it's a day that I'm working from home, just shoot to work. Now he's catching the bus. So with me working 2 days from home, 3 days remote, Mahogany works basically at home and sometimes she remote. And then if she can't, so pick up, get my son to the bus stop, we'll just swap days, whatever. No big deal. She'll just, hey, so like the 2 days, 3 days that I'm at the office, she'll be able to pick him up. The 2 days that I'm at the office, she'll be able to pick him up, whatever. And his is first time riding the bus. So he's walking to the bus stop. So I'm like, dang, I had to change all that. I'm thinking of that. So I'm like, okay, what's the good in this? What's the good that I can figure out of going into the office? So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and start working on it now so it doesn't come as a surprise. So I've been having him walk to the bus stop, walk home from the bus stop. So he's getting used to it. Then I was like, okay. And then this morning, I hadn't gone to the gym in a while. I've been using the gym in my house and I'm not as consistent. So I've been like, dang, man, how can I find the good? So I'm like, maybe if I go back to the office, I was pretty consistent going to the gym. When I was at the office, I was pretty consistent because like, if you know you're going to be at the office, might as well get up early, hit the gym, have a good day at work. You got your endorphins going, you're good. So I was like, okay, that's a good thing that could happen, right? So I'm like, okay, let me just kind of take the good with the bad, see what I can do. And so we are now October. I'm going to have to go back into the office full time. I'm not really tripping too hard about it because like most of my stuff, and this is another cool thing, I've been talking about AI a lot lately. I've created like 3 new GPT agents. They're doing like all my social media, like my Instagram, my LinkedIn, and then like my timeshare updates. All that's being done through a GPT agent. So everything that I can think of that I might have to do, like anything that's on my list that GPT agent can do, man, I have been straight up outsourcing it. And y'all know I've been super, super big on the whole GPT agent. Definitely look into them because they are definitely worth it. Like the tasks that you do online that you could outsource to someone, definitely look into those. So the other changes, so I think we talked about it last week, we were like, we're going to start house hacking the rooms, right? So now I'm like, okay, I got a raise. I'm going to need to write it off. But then if I'm getting this raise, like I'm now going to have to go back into the office. So now I'm about to be spending gas money because that's one thing I always said. I think we talked about it a couple of weeks. We talked about the benefits of working remote. And I said, man, I don't spend nothing on gas. I used to spend $40 every 2 weeks on gas. That's nothing, right? And then I would sometimes buy lunch. The 2 days I go into the office, I would sometimes buy lunch. But I was even thinking about that. Like with me and Mahogany, we're both working, like going into the office, we would meal prep on Sunday, have everything set out. So we have our lunches. So I was like, there's some good benefits to this. So that is one thing that we're going to be having to adjust to that. And then the house hacking thing, we're probably going to start that. It's funny, we were going to start the house hacking thing after we seen like what all our raises were going to look like and like see how all that was. But we're like, okay, let's just do it anyway. There's no point at this point. We're going to need some extra gas money and everything else because that's what your raise is going towards. We're going to use the house hacking thing, house hack, and then see if we can start buying these duplexes. I don't know if y'all have been noticing, but like around DFW, and shout out to my boy CJ. We've been like going real tough on finding these duplexes that are like 3-bed, 2-bath on each side, right? And a lot of them are popping up. So like we were looking in Old East Dallas, we were looking in Trinity Groves, West Dallas, and a lot of these things are starting to pop up, like where a lot of people are moving into one side, renting out the other, and just straight house hacking. Because like whenever, inflation's here, you know what I'm saying? Cost of living's up, cost of housing's up. Whenever you get into those situations, man, house hacking is the fastest way to wealth. I tell people that all the time. If you can house hack something, house hack hack it as fast as you can, hack it up, see what you can get going on. Because like, man, if you don't have to pay a mortgage or rent, you're ahead of most of America. So we're looking at doing this, house hacking this for a while. And after we're done house hacking, we're going to see if we can go ahead and like buy a duplex. Because the duplex thing, like these 3-bed, 2-bath, 4-bed, 2-bath duplexes that are popping up, they're pretty expensive. I think the cheapest one I found was like $499, but I think that was a 3-bed, 2-bath. A 4-bed, 2-bath, I think was like $599. So there's definitely price differences on them. But if you can it's a buyer's market, right? So everything can be negotiated, especially because we're looking at the new builds, because the new builds, you can get a good deal on it. Because if you get the new build, you probably can get a lot of buyer's incentives, stuff sitting a long time. People really aren't just buying real estate like that. So if you got stuff sitting a long time, you can try to get something. However, this East Dallas neighborhood we were looking at, like they were pretty much flying off the shelf because you have people, I think they have the same mindset, right? They're like, hey, I'm about to house hack. And then there's a couple of them that flew off the shelf because, people from California, they got the money. They see these big luxury duplexes being built. They're throwing the money at it. Hey, let's get this duplex and straight investment. That's one thing that we are looking to do. And then of top of these big changes, the changes of, having to change up everything at home, going back into the office. I even texted my friend. I was like, hey man, how's the office been? He's just like, man, it's normal for me because he's been going into it, just making that adjustment. Then like when I talked to my wife about it, I'm like, man, I got to go back into the office. She was just like, my spouse, she was more pissed off than me. Like, dang, for real, we got to change up everything. I was like, yeah. One thing I am, and she may have gave a good idea. She was just like, hey, let's just write it out. I was like, yeah, we're going to write it out because we always figure it out. We don't ever complain. Don't cry over spilled milk for too long. So she was like, write it out. If we find like it's just overbearing, we can always look at going back to, me going back to being a contractor. Anyone who's been following this podcast a long time knows, like back in the day, I was a contractor. I just contracted, because basically now I work in government. So I take a pay cut to work there, but really good team. So you can't ever beat that. I always tell people, chase good leadership. Don't ever chase money. Chase good leadership if you can, because the money's going to come and go. Money ain't worth your soul. So I was like, well, okay, I can look into that. And then kind of like, if anything goes wrong, push comes to shove, be a contractor. Because we have an end goal, right? Our end goal, 4 years, buy 2 doors for the next 4 years. That'll put us at 8 more doors that we have now. After that, look at seeing if you can do 4 more doors, 2 years, get your eight doors, pay them off by the time we're 50. So by the time we're 4 more doors 2 doors a year for 4 years, that'll put me at 40. Pay them off in 10 years, that'll put me at 50. And then I should have like the financial freedom. So we're working with a purpose, but there's always those little wrenches, like right now, those little wrenches, but I am happy about the cost egg because I'm actually excited about that. So I can actually give y'all listeners more insight on it, how it goes. I'll let y'all know step by step what I'm doing. But I'm really excited to actually see the cost, like the cost benefit savings, like on paper. And once I seen it on paper, I'm like, damn, I see why people are doing this. It makes perfect sense. I probably should have done it a while ago, but wasn't thinking. And I was like, I don't really need it at the time, but probably should have been doing it a while ago. Those are the good things. Doing the cost egg, gonna start house hacking again. Gonna probably try to look at a duplex. Yeah, those duplex plays, like if you want a house hack, like people who are, because the reason why the house hacking thing came up too, I don't know if you guys watch Orlando Minor on YouTube. Me and Steve, we talk about him a lot. Shout out to Mike Brown. He's real big on his videos. He had posted a video the other day talking about like all these people are going through these headaches of being first-time home buyers because they just kind of bought at the wrong time. Interest rates are high. They don't understand property tax, especially like in Texas. If you don't understand property taxes, it'll eat you alive because you have to understand it, and then you have to understand, like, if you're buying a house as your primary residence to live in, okay, and you're putting down, let's say 3.5%, 5%, your property taxes, and then you're going to be paying PMI, it can eat you alive, especially if you're not buying in the right area. So Orlando Minor made a good video about it, and he was dogging out realtors. I'm not saying what he did say. He made some really good points about realtors. Like, he made a very funny statement. Let me find the statement he made. He said, and it seemed to get under a lot of people's skin because I quoted it and I said, and I laughed because it was funny. He said, your real estate agent took a multiple choice test to become a realtor and was a door dasher at their last job, and that's the guy you hired to be your agent. I found that extremely hilarious. But I will say this from a realtor. I'm not a realtor. Y'all know I am going to get my realtor's license, but I'm going to be listing agent, focus on like helping people do short, midterm rentals, short-term rentals, do that combination in like the DFW area. Being a realtor, you can make a lot of money because of, depending on the market, how the market is. But if you're doing like first-time home buyers, you should, if you're a good person, if you operate it with integrity, you should have like a kind of soft spot of knowing, okay, if this person really doesn't understand the home buying process, and not only the process, but the effects of buying like a specific property at that time, you know what I'm saying? I know, let's say you understand they've been approved for X amount, but they can't afford it. I'm not going to say a realtor should be a financial advisor, but you should have a little bit of responsibility of teaching them. But I know most of them operate off commission. It's just like a wholesaler who's targeting first time investors. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to, it's a shark's going to eat you up, just operate with integrity. That's how I always say. Like when I get my realtor license, I try to be very apparent, straight up with people. Even the other day, like me, I was talking to a guy and he was saying like he had a short-term rental down in Orlando, and I was just being very transparent. And he was like, man, it's been slow. He has these two short-term rentals in the same neighborhood. One's a 5-bedroom and it's killing it. And he bought it, I think, 2 years ago. And this new one he just bought, no, he bought one, I think, in 2021, the other in 2023. One, the 5-bedroom he bought in 2021, the 6-bedroom he bought in 2023. And he said, this 6-bedroom, man, it's just slow. I'm losing money on it. And I just started asking him, like, man, are you managing it yourself? He's like, no, I pay this property management company. I'm paying them 20%. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, where are they listing you at? They got you on their website. He goes, well, they're only listing me on Airbnb. I'm like, ain't no way somebody down in Orlando where it's like really competitive, they only listing you on Airbnb, taking 20% and you losing money. Like, it's just like the level of integrity in the real estate world. I understand why some people, why they have like certain reservations, because I mean, it is dog eat world. Cause I mean, going to get ate out here, but I mean, yeah, just operate with some sort of integrity, man. Like, and I told them straight up, you need to fire that company if they don't at least have you on like Airbnb, VRBO, Google Vacation Rentals, any Booking.com, anywhere they can find you. They a property management company, a short-term rental property management company should have you everywhere. Especially like anybody, especially right now, even with this cost seg, like this whole 100% bonus depreciation. One of the rules is you have to self-manage and you have to have the average stay of 7 days. But the self-managing thing, I think that's what's going to be the killer to a lot of property management companies, because you start looking at it and it's like, okay, one, this property management company is losing you money, just monthly losing you money. And then in the long run, you're paying them and then you don't qualify for these certain benefits. So you start looking like, well, damn, is the property management really worth it? And I've said, I don't think if you're doing short-term and mid-term rental, unless you just want to be 100% hands off and you just want to collect the monthly paycheck and you're actually profiting, yeah, it's worth it. Okay, do it. I have my own property management. I manage for people, but yeah, do it. But if it's not, self-managing is pretty easy. And I kept telling people now with AI agents, they can do a lot of the stuff that your average VA can do. And if you're really savvy like me, I have my VA using artificial intelligence to help them with their job. So it's a lot of these things where, even property management companies, they might become obsolete because these people who are saying, oh, I want the short-term rental tax loophole with the cost seg and all that. You can't have a property management company. You have to learn to self-manage. And I think it's pretty easy. And a lot of people bypass it. But I think it's a bit, you're about to see an explosion of people self-managing. But yeah, just the integrity part. It's just even with management, anything in real estate, operate with integrity. Try to do your best you can, to do what you can. Because I know, like right now, VRBO, like a lot of rules from these OTAs, they do come from bad hosts. I rip the OTAs a lot, but a lot of them come from bad hosts. Like even like VRBO just put a new rule out where I think, like, let's say the guest can't get in the property. You have an hour to get them into the property. And a lady was complaining about it. And I'm like, if you're comfortable with somebody sitting outside for an hour, that's on you. You should have a backup, right? Like for me, like it's funny. We just had a lockout situation, but it's a construction company. They're there for a week, laying some lines or whatever it may be, laying some fiber lines or whatever. And they had trouble getting in, but they just had the wrong code, right? Because the boss is communicating with his workers, right? So they just had the wrong code, whatever it may be. But I was able to get them. We were able to get them in like 10 minutes, 5 minutes at that. And then at that, like even if you have a lock malfunction, if y'all operating and y'all don't have like a lock box on the wall, something like that, there should be another way into the property. So I didn't think it was a big deal, but there are hosts that host like that. And also, I don't know if there's property management companies that host like that, but if they are, they're ridiculous and shouldn't be operating. But yeah, it's just a lot of these rules, they do get pushed down by the OTAs because of certain hosts that just aren't good at hosting. So, and I think a lot of hosts nowadays, if you're not good at it, you're just not utilizing the tools in front of you. Like I know y'all gonna get mad at me harping on AI, but there's just too many tools that you could just automate stuff like that, man. Like you could have Chat GPT create codes. Like most of the locks already do it themselves, but you can have it verify. You can have Chat GPT do your profit first breakdowns, tell you what you should be doing on profit first. It's just very powerful, man, especially if you know what prompts to give it. And I do tell people, if you can get on LinkedIn, MIT has free prompt engineering and AI courses. MIT giving it out for free, bro. So go all in on AI, 'cause especially, I tell you, it's an entrepreneur's playground. And I've been loving these GPT agents. Hopefully I can start deploying some at my job too, because I love everything about it, man. It just makes your job and life just a lot easier. And it's just cool just to watch it, seeing the power behind it and what it can actually do. So yeah, man. Yeah, I just want to update y'all. We're doing the cost seg. Not only doing the cost seg, we are about to change our whole lives. We're going back into the office thing. So I'm going to see how that works out. Kids are at a new school. Wish they would have made this decision a while ago. I probably could have kept my son in the other school. But cool thing too. Speaking of my son's school, and the one thing I reason why I'm like really loving his school is because so me and my wife, we went up to they had I missed the orientation, so I had never met his teacher. This is my first time meeting his teacher. They had the orientation of like they show you, because it's a new school. It's like a GT school, but it's brand new. They're showing you like, hey, this is what we're teaching your child. And it was like really cool that they're teaching these kids financial literacy. They can like save up their money for like different stuff. Like if they save $1,000 in like the classroom currency or whatever, they can like pie the teacher in the face, one little thing. And then they have these debit cards where they're teaching like, hey, this is how you have to swipe your debit card, and this is how you buy stuff. And then they have to fill out job applications inside of the classroom in order to get paid. So you fill out your job application, you get paid. And then not only that, this is the cool part, they have to pay rent to the classroom, right? $30 a month. I'm like, yo, this is all the stuff I used to say like schools should be teaching. They're finally starting to teach it. And I'm really happy about it because it's a public school. So I'm like, man, these public GT schools, they got it together. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't got to pay no extra money out of pocket. You know, it's like, that's really good. Because y'all know, anyone who follows me on IG, I've been going really hard on teaching my son, like, financial literacy, doing through flashcards with him. You know, he's kind of master Monopoly. So we've been trying to play the cash flow game with him. Just kind of like, and y'all know me, I'm not pushing my kid to be an entrepreneur. I'm just pushing him to think outside the box and understand certain concepts. So if you want to talk about, like, not just being an employee either, like you can be an employee, because I do push them to go to school, doctor, lawyer, engineer, AI engineer if possible, because I'm starting to see that be on the rise. But I am pushing them for college, but I do want them to know, if you want to pursue your passion after you can take care of yourself, your family, or whatever it may be, and then get paid off of it, you know, so you take life in steps. But this thing right here, the school is powerful, and I love it, man. They're going hard on just teaching like the skills that they would need in the real world. Because like, I really think in high school, they should be learning how to do taxes. That's just me. In my opinion, I think in high school, there should be high school coaches teaching you how to do taxes. So like, my son's only in the 4th grade, but they're teaching him like the basics, like rent payments, budgeting, saving up for stuff, then like how to multiply your money, you know. And I was like, man, this is really cool, man. I was like, so people out there, parents in Texas, if y'all can get your kids in like a GT school, if they're in public school, and you know, y'all pretty financially savvy yourselves, and you're trying to like, you want to push that into your kids' life, definitely look into like these GT schools. They're really good schools, man. They're teaching like the financial literacy piece that I've always wanted to teach. So yeah, so a lot of changes, a lot of good. I wouldn't say bad, but you know, I'm not gonna say it's a lot of bad stuff, but a lot of stuff that's gonna be changing, you know, getting me out of my comfort zone, because that's one of the biggest things is I always say, getting out of your comfort zone, and this will definitely help me get out of my comfort zone. And I know it'll bring some good things, man. You always gotta smile with the good, smile with the bad, and you know, smile with the bad, you know, smile with the good too, but yeah, definitely smile with the bad and figure out a way. Because another thing, speaking of comfort zones, is my son. He was kind of complaining to me and my wife that he didn't really like the school, because he's probably only 2 of his friends are from his old school are there. You know, only 2 of them got into the GT program with them. And then it's been so hot in Texas, they haven't been going outside. He was kind of complaining about it. And then the other day, I think Thursday and Friday, they went outside. He said, and I was just telling them, hey, man, stick it out, especially after I seen what they were teaching. I'm like, stick it out, you know, be uncomfortable, learn to make new friends, go sit at new tables. You know, I want to start him young at getting out of his comfort zone. So, like, not always catering to his comfort. So it's a lot of good things. Like, a lot of good things are going on. So always be appreciative, have gratitude. And yeah, man. So I'm going to definitely be updating y'all on the cost seg journey. My HELOC, we're still working on that too. So I'm hearing good things. Hopefully they're still there. It's in final approval. So I'll be updating y'all on that, on how much we get. So, and letting y'all know. what bank to use. So the HELOCs, the BLOCs, the PLOCs, I'll be updating all on that. And I hope this was helpful. Just a quick rant of mine, going off the top of the dome, just a rant of what's everything that's going on in my life. So yeah, man, thank y'all for continuing to listen. Thank y'all for always tuning in. And remember, you can email us, liveletthrive@gmail.com. Send us an email. Always follow us on IG, TikTok. We're posting on there daily. So yeah, follow us, and thank y'all for listening, and we are out.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.